and until mabayaran ng mga Lopez ang taxes nila, I will ignore your franchise and I will not give them the license to operate. Kalokohan yan. Parang binigyan mo sila ng prize for their being for committing criminal acts.
The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. President Rodrigo Duterte says he will not recognize any new franchise that Congress may grant network giant ABS-CBN. To give us more context and to discuss some other issues brought up at last night's presidential address, we have Maricel Halili. She's reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. So Maricel, could you tell us, is it actually within the President's power to bar ABS-CBN from operating should they secure a new franchise, or at least is that what the President's saying?
Well, Charles, it's a bit ironic because during the hearing, if we recall, during the hearing of the ABS-CBN franchise before the Congress, Malacanang has been consistent in saying that President Duterte has nothing to do with the issue on franchise renewal of ABS-CBN. But if we based it on the statement of President Duterte last night, he's giving a different tune. Well, basically, the National Telecommunications Commission is under the executive branch, so it's still under the president. But if we recall the statement of presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, he has been consistent in saying that they treat NTC as an independent institution, so it has its own mandate. They can decide on their own. But last night, it's a different tune. President Duterte even gave directive to NTC not to give a license to operate to the Lopez company, even if Congress decided to renew its franchise in the future. So President Duterte reiterated that unless the Lopez company has already paid for all their taxes, he will not allow the company to resume its operation.
Right, that's an interesting point, Mase, because the President did mention non-payment of taxes as his justification for basically frustrating the will of Congress if so necessary. But then haven't we heard from the BIR previously that there are no unpaid taxes?
Yes, exactly, Charles. So this is still a hanging question because it seems that different companies, different government sectors are also giving different statement. But President Duterte mentioned last night that he was referring to a deal between the Lopez company and the DBP. I'm using the term Lopez company because the president did not specifically mention ABS-CBN. But of course, we can assume it's the giant network because of the recent happenings. So what the president mentioned last night is that he would like to bring this issue before the ombudsman for further investigation to know what are the liabilities of the Lopez company and to make sure that they will pay all the taxes if ever that it is indeed true that they still have to pay taxes despite the statement of BIR.
All right, ABS-CBN definitely still very much in hot water. In other news, we have NTF Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez giving us updates regarding the vaccine trials. Could you give us the lowdown?
So far, Charles, vaccine czar Carlito Galvez said that the local government units has already started the stimulation rehearsal to make sure that, or the simulation rehearsal to make sure that the process or the transferring of vaccines once these vaccines arrive in the country will flow smoothly. We expect that the arrival of the 117,000 doses of Pfizer from the COVAX facility will be by mid-February. Their estimate is around the February 15, but of course, they also expect that the COVAX facility will coordinate with the national government 2 to 3 days prior to the arrival so that they can prepare all the materials needed for the transportation from the airport. They expect the vaccine to be transported to the storage of the Department of Health before it will be distributed to different areas. But of course, the 117,000 doses of Pfizer vaccine are expected to be distributed in Metro Manila because of its storage. It needs ultra low freezer, so it cannot be distributed to other parts of the country because of that concern, except in Cebu and Davao because they also have ultra low freezer. And of course, the priority will still be the medical frontliners.
Right, Mase, that being said, the president had said before that he plans to use police stations and military installations in far-flung areas as vaccination centers. Is this still the plan?
That is still the plan, Charles, if you based it from the statement of President Duterte last night. He did mention that, of course, some of the provinces in the country have limited vaccination sites. For example, yesterday during the press briefing of Mayor Toby Chanco of Navotas, he did admit that they don't have huge places to make it as a vaccination site. And so they coordinated with the Department of Education to make sure that they can use some of the schools in Navotas as vaccination sites. Navotas is not the only place that has this kind of problem, and the president recognized that. And so he gave his instruction last night that if a certain area of a certain place needs additional vaccination sites, they can use camps of the military. And he also ordered the Philippine National Police as well as the military to help in securing the vaccines, especially during the transportation. He also called on the CPP to make sure that they will not ruin the transportation of these vaccines because vaccines are for the people. That's what the president said.
So the president has ordered the smooth delivery of vaccines, but then what do LGUs have to prepare for the arrival of vaccines coursed through the national government?
So far, based on the statements of the heads of or the local officials, specifically yesterday we were able to get some information from the mayors of Caloocan, Quezon City, and Navotas. They expect the arrival of the vaccines, specifically AstraZeneca, by middle of this year, sometime in June or July. But of course, they have been starting the rehearsal, the exercises when it comes to the transportation of the vaccines that they have ordered. Now they are preparing the master list of their constituents who will undergo vaccination if the vaccines are already here. Of course, their priority is in line with the priority of the national government, but they have to clean the list because if they have a resident who are considered as medical frontliners and are working in national hospitals, they will be covered by the national government. So they will focus on the frontliners who are working on local hospitals. That will be their priority. And aside from preparing the master list for the inoculation, of course, they are also preparing their storage for the vaccines. In Navotas, I understand they also prepared ultra low freezer to make sure that they can accommodate some of the vaccines like Pfizer if it needs additional storage in their place. And they have also started coordinating with different national government agencies to make sure that everything will go smoothly once the vaccines are already here.
All right, so it's all systems go for the vaccine plan, but then do we have any updates regarding the genome sequencing and biosurveillance efforts being done by the government?
Charles, during the statement of or during the talk to the public last night of President Duterte, Health Secretary Francisco Duque gave an update about the genome sequencing. He mentioned that there are additional 25 samples that underwent the genome sequencing, and unfortunately, there are 8 out of these 25 that were identified as the UK variant. And so we still have to wait for additional statement and information from the Department of Health on how are they planning to deal with these additional 8 cases.
All right, hopefully vaccine confidence does rise along with all of this news, but then is the president himself optimistic about his administration's vaccination plan?
Well, President Duterte has always been optimistic in the inoculation or the vaccination plan of the government. He is consistent during his public address that he trusts the decisions of Secretary Duque, Secretary Lorenzana, and Secretary Galvez in terms of the inoculation plan. So yes, he is optimistic that everything will go smoothly as planned. And he also said that he's willing to be one of the first to be vaccinated if this will help the public to boost their confidence on the vaccines.
All right, just a couple of weeks away. Thanks for that, Maricel. Again, that was Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. The Agriculture Department expects pork prices to normalize within the week following the implementation of its 60-day price cap. In an interview with One News' The Chiefs, Agriculture Secretary William Dar said pork prices should stabilize as soon as supplies from other provinces arrive in Metro Manila and nearby provinces. Dar continues to pin the blame on wholesalers and traders for jacking up prices.
Ito na yung resulta ng African swine fever. There really is tightness in the supply dito sa Metro Manila, and that's why we are mobilizing hogs and pork supplies from the provinces na mayroon pang surplus.
Meanwhile, the Meat Importers and Traders Association said it will take the country at least 5 to 10 years before it fully recovers from ASF. On 1PH sa Totoo Lang, the group's president, Jesus Cham, said the government needs to address issues on the demand and supply of pork to assure the country's speedy recovery from the outbreak.
Para sa mga local na produkto, unang-una dapat padamihin ang supply. Sa pagdadami ng supply, hindi lamang local kundi pati imported. Yun po ang isang paraan. Pangalawa, ang mga local government sa mga palengke, kailangan i-waive na nila ang rental ng mga lamesa. Pagkatapos, ang pagbabawal ng pagtinda ng frozen sa palengke dapat alisin na dahil ito na, hahanap buhay na ng tindera ang pinag-uusapan natin. Kapag wala sila makuhang local na produkto, dapat payagan sila magtinda ng frozen na produkto na imported.
While Metro Manila is experiencing a shortage of meat supply, some farmers in Benguet are facing their own challenges selling vegetables because of oversupply. Jenny Dongon with the story.
June Alpino, a farmer in Atok, Benguet, couldn't help but be discouraged about the effect of frost or andap to his vegetable farm.
Talagang sira yung tanim namin, lalo na yung patatas. Yun kasi ang talagang masisira pag talagang frost.
Frost or andap is a deposit of small white ice crystals formed on leaves or any surface of the plant. It happens when the temperature drops to as low as 8 to 9 degrees Celsius, usually from December to February. To mitigate its impact, June installed automatic rotating watering system and rain bust that washes off the ice. In the meantime, he said he will just closely watch the vegetables and try to adapt to the situation.
Kung minsan kasi hindi mo kung matantya kung anong buwan. Kasi kung minsan Nobyembre na, meron na. Gaya ngayon lang, January na nangyari. Ayun kasi kasi na lang sa timing eh. Kaya talagang pilit na nagtatanim yung iba.
But Atok Mayor Raimundo Sarak assured the public that it will not affect the supply and prices of vegetables. Sarak explained that only a portion of Barangay Paway is affected, and only about 20% of Benguet's highland vegetable production comes from the town. He added that farmers have already learned how to handle the situation. Over in La Trinidad, farmers and traders are having difficulty selling their products. This as a surge in the supply of vegetables in the market has been observed. Some agreed to sell their Baguio Pechay for just 15 pesos per kilo just to earn from their harvest. Farmers worry that the prices may further go down unless there's a leap in the demand of vegetables in the market. They are hoping to receive assistance from the government to help them overcome this challenge. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, We Are One News.
And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.